and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning into Live with Andy. I'm your host, Andy Dybala. We got a great guest scheduled today. He actually really wasn't scheduled. He gave me a little call yesterday asking for some help on a video, and I gave him a call back in the morning, and one thing led to another, and he was like, yeah, I was doing a show tonight. He's like, yeah, I'll come on and break down some news and show your audience the news that others miss. This journalist I'm talking about is Harry the Greek. He's coming from Cleveland, Ohio. He does a lot of great work on his website, BrassBalls.blog. And here he is. Harry, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good, Andy. How are you?
I'm doing great. Can you give the audience a little background about yourself?
Yeah, I'm 71 years old, been married for over 40 years. Have trouble finding my glasses. That's why I put a band around here, so I don't forget where I put them. But I'm a writer. I've written 2 blogs for 6 years, and people read my blogs because they're stories that others aren't writing about, and it's a new style that I've learned going back to 8th grade. That was the best class I ever had, was 8th grade journalism class. I've used whatever I've used items in that class almost every day after in my life, and that's why my stories have some punch. So, what do you want to go to first?
Well, that is why the foundation is important, and you need to start young. And if you have some good teachers that give you some good lessons, it can really make an impact in your life. And we need more than teachers that taught you your journalistic skills. I know when you watch our neighborhood news studio broadcasts, like in the past couple of years, you used to sit there and be like, come on guys, there's some extra things you guys are missing and you can do here. I'm gonna come to you, I'm gonna teach a class, and some things fell apart, but hopefully we can get back to that one of these days.
That's right. It's basically organization. I mean, it's preparation, and I start every day fresh with about probably 50 to 100 emails. You know, by the time I crack open my laptop between 8 and 9, and then by the end of the day, I probably go through 200 different story tips that I get from people, and boy, some of the best tips I get are from the Pentagon. I had a lady from Virginia tell me about a case in, let's see, what's that? Yeah, it's East Lansing, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And it had to do with that Connect CEO case, Eugene Yu. He's been sued by one of his former managers, and this was the break that I was looking for that really will substantiate this news. But there's a far right there on the top line there, former Connect boss. Now,
Grant Bradley.
Right, he got wrongfully terminated, and they made the mistake of firing the guy. Guess what? Probably the most important person who knows about the Chinese contractors. Who do you think their manager was?
I'm guessing it was a guy by the name of Grant Bradley. Judging by some of the work you've done.
That's his photo there.
He was like the leader of the Chinese Connect team, was he not?
He was in contact with them every day of his duties there at Connect. So he has firsthand knowledge of what's going on. And
did he work personally with Eugene Yu himself?
Yes. Yes.
Were they like sitting? Did they have offices next to each other? Do you know? Or
yes. I mean, to talk about a true whistleblower, and they fired the guy, you know, right after that Connect headquarters got seized of all the servers and a bunch of other things on October 4th. They had made this mistake about firing this guy less than a week later. And by the 14th of October, the Connect offices were vacated thanks to a lot of hard work by people like Greg Clark and others that live in Michigan and actually went up there to take video of this. But there's a transcript of this guy's affidavit. I forget exactly where, and I have that in the story. It's probably a script thing. Go up a little bit. I want to show people that, this guy is a real, let's see, go up.
Back at the top.
All right, look for the script thing where I start talking about the transcript. So
so we got Grant Bradley is a former operations manager at Connect. He's a defunct election software company. He told the LA district attorney that Connect sends its data to China. He swears by this, actually. You stated that.
It's an affidavit, which means it's evidence. It's not just a statement. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I believe I have it now.
I can go in there and flag that, so that I got to go in there and flag that script thing, but people can copy and paste that. And it's a 13-page manuscript, and I had an opportunity of talking 10 minutes. Yeah, that's it. With his attorney, his last name's Davis. I can't remember his first name, but he's going to try to get a copy of that FBI affidavit that was presented to reduce Eugene Yu's bond on October 6th. And basically, it's phony. The FBI doesn't know anything about cybersecurity. Basically, what's in the affidavit, and the reason why we know this is that the trial judge in Michigan, he videotapes all his court hearings, all of them. And I was listening to it, and Yu's defense attorney came out and said that it was signed by FBI agent in Houston, Texas. And I know exactly who he is. I'm just waiting for the guy's name to come up before I tag him. He says that, none of this data ended up in China. Well, how the hell would he know? We got the guy working with Eugene Yu that tells you, yeah, these are the guys I work with. Who are they? Da 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 da. Oh,
so is Grant Bradley currently a free man? Is he being questioned by the authorities himself?
Yeah, he was. He was, and he told his boss Yu that he wasn't going to lie about what was going to happen, what was going on. So that's why he was terminated. So anyway. And Yu's no longer in this country. His wife posted a $500,000 cash bond. Now,
just to let the audience know, this is the gentleman Eugene Yu in his arrest picture right here. That's now been deleted off the internet. You can't find it anywhere. It's still on Harry's website, BrassBalls.blog. So make sure
if you call up the sheriff's department in Ingham County, they'll tell you that he was never in this jail.
He doesn't look very happy to be there. He must have called some of his Chinese diplomats that were over there in Michigan and got them on the case. And it was just like, you wipe those records clean now, or you're going to be losing some of the funding that's going to your universities and some of your State Department programs.
There's no way this guy's coming back to this country with his wife. He was in the United States 35 years. His defense attorney, was bragging about how he's such an upstanding citizen. And here this guy ends up being an FBI informant who works for the Department of Homeland Security. I sent him a couple of his email worked. Thanks to Amber Connor. I mean, anyway.
So this guy Eugene Yu is important. Can you explain why he's important in the grand scheme of things? We have his company Connect, which is stationed in China, and he's the CEO of this company, and they are actually in charge of election and election like metadata, or what exactly are they in charge of?
Anyway, I really don't know how to answer that question. Put it this way. There's 5 million registered voters in Los Angeles. They have 350, what is it? Kilobytes? What do they call those things? Terabytes.
Terabytes.
350 terabytes. All right. That's more than enough to store all the registration records for this whole country.
That's not enough to store all the porn, though, in the world.
Oh, well, who knows? Maybe he's having a good old time back in China. I don't know. But to answer your question, there's a document that was very important that I got from Los Angeles commissioners. Los Angeles County is in Los Angeles, California. Mm-hmm. And there's a 160-page contract that Connect had with the commissioners for $2.6 million. Well, I scrolled through it, and lo and behold, it says there that all the data that Connect has access to shall remain within the control of the LA commissioners, with the exception of third-party contractors like Seidel. Mm-hmm. Whoa, Seidel. Mm-hmm. See, this story on Connect really is not all that important in the scheme of things, because Seidel is, because they actually tabulate 80% of this country's votes. Mm-hmm. 80%. They got a monopoly on this. And
now, does Seidel store Connect's information on their servers? Yes. Is that how it works?
Yes.
And so Seidel is not only storing Connect's information, they're storing all of the 80% of the United States election data in general. They're not based in the United States.
Barcelona, Spain. Barcelona, Spain.
And why are they based in Barcelona, Spain, in your opinion, Harry?
We don't get arrested over here. I mean, it's really that simple. You can't get. Matter of fact, the attorney on for Bradley on the wrongful termination case, he's suing for money damages. He said, when I was talking with him, he said, "No wonder I can't find this guy to hand him the legal paper so we can get this case started. He isn't in this country. Now I know why he's so hard to find." I said, "Yeah, well, here's the email address and phone number for prosecutor Luke Sizek. Go ahead and call him."
So I was actually going through some of their videos that they posted on YouTube, and they have some very interesting stuff they're in charge of. There's some of these like administration passcodes that they could go in and kind of manipulate the information if needed. Actually, if all the information that was presented to the public in general, like on websites, on the apps, that was given to Fox, that was given to CNN, this all comes from Seidel. All the election information comes from them, and
absolutely correct.
And they give like administrators in each county and each state like different passwords and different logging codes, and it's a whole like just big online voting scheme. And they even have these e-voting type of applications where you can sign up to vote like electronically through Seidel, and they send you an email, and you got to
the Pentagon. They got a contract with the Pentagon. So does Connect, and basically, and I'm glad you brought that up, because actually I was working on a story yesterday until this case broke in Tampa, Florida, where Wendy Sloan was there yesterday to take video to verify that his offices are vacant. But basically, there's a case that came out. Let's see, it would be 2 days ago in Texas State Court. And basically, Texas is trying to stop electronic online voting, and they want in-person voting. And lo and behold, Who's objecting?
Beto O'Rourke.
The Justice Department.
Yeah.
People don't realize it. They think of the Justice Department as all criminal cases. No, that's why we have all this menagerie with all this civil stuff. In other words, the Democratic Party uses the Justice Department budgets to fight this stuff, like pro-abortion, anti-family, whatever you think is not normal. That's their agenda. I don't want to get into all that stuff, but it's important for folks out there to know that everything out there, policing, they finally appointed a guy in charge of local policing. He works for the Justice Department. That means the federal government has control of state and local law enforcement now. I mean, people don't realize that. And anyway, the people that appealed this case and the judge approved them as a party to the action. The two parties are the Justice Department that I already talked about and Hillary Clinton's lawyer, Mark Elias. Mark Elias was the guy who paid through the Democratic Party $12.4 million for the Russian dossiers. Remember that? There was actually 3 of them. And
sorry, I just put up on the screen that
that's
talking
fine.
about the Justice Departments and stuff, and yeah, it came out that George Soros funded $40 million in just like DAs in the past couple elections, including
LA. I want to interrupt you. I'm sorry for talking so much, but this is important for folks. I was going to write a story about Soros's son, Alexander, and I'm getting into the story, and lo and behold, there's this guy called Malik Brown from. He's one of those Sir royalty people out of London, England.
Sir Malcolm Brown or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, anyway, he's the guy that owns Smartmatic, which is another voting machine system. And guess who's the president of George Soros's Open Society Foundation? Open Society Foundation gets its money from Congress. You think George Soros spends his own money on this stuff?
No.
Malik Brown is the president of the Soros Foundation. I go, uh-oh. And
so the guy who's doing all in charge of all the election. Or George Soros's Open Society Foundation is in charge of the election integrity as well.
It's tied into so many different phases. It's all like one big lump.
Do you know about the George Soros Antony Blinken connection?
I did it one time, but refresh my memory.
Well,
Go ahead.
George Soros actually considers Antony Blinken's father, Donald Blinken, his favorite diplomat. And they actually they started this foundation together called the Vera and Donald Blinken Open Society Archives. And it's the largest Soviet Union archives in the planet that George Soros and the Blinkens have control of. Like, they got scientific documents, like old military plans, like all this stuff related to the Soviet Union. George Soros and Donald Blinken are in charge of through this connection, and it's I think why Antony Blinken is in the position
Secretary of State. He has his own venture company. That redheaded Greek who was in charge of the doing the press conferences from Biden. I forget what her name was, but they're partners in a venture capital company, and Blinken has more money in his bank account than George Soros does. And remember when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State and Libya was invaded by NATO, and who was that? Gaddafi was assassinated along with diplomats at the in Benghazi. Well, watching that unfold in the Obama administration office, Blinken was one of the people in the room with Obama, Hillary Clinton, and about 10 other people, and they're still in the Biden administration. They just went from the Clinton administration to the Biden administration.
Yeah.
They're still there in the Biden administration.
There wasn't supposed to be a Trump in between, but they had like a little hiccup there, and then it was like, all right, now we continue on with the plans. Now that we're back in power. So
anyway, got a senior moment here. I want to go back to that story. I'm only as a writer, I'm only as good as my next story, and my next story is a very simple headline. Online will replace in-person voting, or two, not will, but to replace. And I'm putting that story together with different sources. And this guy, Elias, every major lawsuit that you see filed in any state, his organization has filed suit. Anything that promotes identifying who's voting when, anything that promotes early voting, where there's no verification of what was mailed out, what was coming in. He's in charge of all that, and he was in charge of the post office campaign for mail-in votes.
Yeah. Well, that's why they had to have COVID to push the mail-in ballot agenda, because without it, it's like, no, everyone can just keep showing up to the ballot stations as normal. So during that time, it's like you had to have a reason to push, like, hey, let's do it in a different way. And they did it, and there's a bunch of mail-in ballot dumps, and we haven't figured out how to catch them yet. But if we keep on keeping on, we'll figure it out. I do have a video here, if you don't mind, real quick. It's
your show. Go ahead.
It's of the Citl, and it is their e-ballot delivery system, and it's how it's their process that they use. So I figured, since we're on the subject, might as well play it.
All right.
So this is Citl's electronic
Citl e-ballot delivery allows qualified UACAVA or other voters to apply for an electronic transmission ballot to be delivered securely online. Once a voter has requested an electronic ballot, an email will be sent to the voter's address notifying them of their available ballot. The voter is able to log into the system and access their ballot. Depending on the laws in the state, the voter may mark their ballot online or may be required to print the ballot and then mark it manually. The ballot may be returned by mail or through a secure online delivery system.
I believe that's the end of the video. But they do have a bunch of videos on their website. And yeah, they have different ways for e-ballots, different ways for administrators to start to go in and edit the information, and the way they present the information to the public can be manipulated in general. And one of the very interesting things I found about them is they actually have like a system set up for local government as well, where you're like say your school board of education, or your local township board, or your city
state
board
legislature. They got a voting system for that. They can rig that.
If they're all getting together, that like
they're using that in Ohio right now. That's how they elected a new speaker of the House in Ohio.
Yeah, they're recording all the. If this stuff is going to China and going overseas, they're literally recording all of our local governments, like, information. They're recording the individual votes, who voted what, and like they know like where the people live and all this through the registration process. And it's and they're storing all the metadata. And it's not in the United States. Like, we have the Pentagon. Why is it not in the Pentagon?
Well, the Pentagon is basically working for China too, and for Citl. I mean, that's basically I was able to identify some contracts that they have, and they're automatically renewed, which means that they don't have to submit any paperwork, and their contract's automatically renewed, and they can just they can bill the government whatever they want for their activities. So until we, and I don't see one politician out there saying we have to return to paper ballots.
Mm-hmm.
And until that happens, you're never going to get a fair election, and you're going to keep on getting people that shouldn't be in office, spending money on bills they never even read. I mean, I can't believe the thousands of pages of bills that get approved in Congress. There's no way in heck anyone had read all of those things that they're voting on. Who's writing the bills? In other words, they ought to at least have.
That's why all the illegal immigrants are coming over. They need them to write the bills.
Oh my God!
Read the bills.
Well, they're there to replace voters like you and me.
Yeah.
Right. But there's no way in heck that this stuff can be verified if they go on an online ballot. And there's a lady in New York Audit, NY, and then AUDIT, Marley Hornick. They identified over 3 million votes that were fabricated using phony IDs. In other words,
Marley Hornick?
Yes, Marley, MARLEY. And they've identified 6 million votes in New York that are totally fabricated using codes off of the envelopes off of early vote ballots that come in through the mail-in process. And that's why they're fighting so hard to keep that, because it has triggers on the envelopes that trigger. In other words, I mail in a vote, and then all of a sudden 11 other people vote in my name too. And they figure out like this who those 11 people are going to vote for. And when they go through the system, they can't find these things. Well, the codes and how to find them, Marley's organizations figured that out. And there isn't anyone in the whole state of New York that's interested in prosecuting any of these people. I'm surprised there isn't a toll-free number to call attorneys for, supposedly if somebody's stealing your identity, you should sue them for damages. And I'm surprised they don't have major law firms putting their 800 numbers up to get customers to sign up for this, because that's a rainmaker for them. It's just a bonanza of money coming in, and it really is this bad in this country. And on top of it, the story I ran today on newsothersmiss.com, about the third or fourth paragraph down, I refer to a story I did probably back in August or whenever, but basically, there is none of these election machine vendors can prove that their software is accurate, honest, and accurate. They can verify the accuracy of this stuff. I mean, every time somebody says, "Oh, it's fraudulent votes," well, don't talk about fraud. Say, hey, show us your certification. I can't believe all these election boards are approving contracts for this without asking the key question: how do we know your stuff is safe? Show us your certifications. There aren't any, because they're voluntary. When they're voluntary, they don't do them. Silos stuff hasn't been looked at for 11 years in this country. And
now we have what we have. Goldman Sachs has been kind of kicked out of the presidential office, and BlackRock has moved in, and they're associated with Koenig and Seidel themselves. Can you explain to the audience their I guess relationship to Eugene Yu?
Yes. When I saw this case in Los Angeles, one of the first things I did was look up the California Secretary of State, and I typed in Eugene Yu to see how many corporations that he was. I shouldn't say. He shouldn't have put his name on any of this stuff. Put it that way. Trying to be nice to him.
Because people are out there like you.
Well, like me can find this stuff, and it isn't that hard. You type it in, and you know what came up? His company, Connect Inc. in California, his partner is Michael Lee. Michael Lee not only works for BlackRock in San Francisco, he also has his own software contracts with Apple in Amsterdam. So you have a direct contact with Michael Lee and BlackRock connected with Eugene Yu like this. It's in the paperwork. Folks, I can do to show people just how blatant this stuff is, and I just can't believe people just ignore it.
And that leads me to kind of we have like BlackRock being associated with kind of taking over the Biden administration through the financial side of things, and they're connected to the people who are stealing the elections. And then, like a couple weeks ago, Zelensky comes out with some news that Ukraine is going to be partnering with BlackRock to kind of like rebuild Ukraine's economy.
That's just straight out money laundering. That's like Afghanistan. I can't remember. I read thousands of pages of reports done by our own Pentagon saying that was the biggest money laundering operation in the history of the world. This is going to be the second largest. Anyway.
And there's a article on your website that mentioned that was it the United Nations or NATO is kind of skimming money off the top of that spending bill money we were sending over to Ukraine?
Yeah, Congress doesn't track any of this stuff. There's no accountability. Absolutely none. The Pentagon has never passed. Matter of fact, I shouldn't be picking on the Pentagon because it applies to every federal agency. There hasn't been one federal agency in the history of this country that's passed an audit. Why? I mean, you should see these reports done by these inspector generals.
Yeah.
We're spending money. We don't know what we bought. Yeah. We don't have the invoice. We don't have the receipts. We don't have any paperwork. They just keep on doing the same thing over and over again.
Now, how much of that does come down to, like, you saw Kevin McCarthy kind of when he came into the Senate seat, he said that, or the House seat, that he was gonna, make it, do away with proxy voting. So like everyone on the golf course had to actually come back into Capitol. Like that's part of the reason why all this money is getting spent. Like no one's really. You wonder why. Like
Biden's voting for them.
Yeah, they're not
voting for them. No.
Apparently, Joe Biden has like a -7 handicap. What do you think about that?
I thought he was already always a little light up here, so he's got a big handicap. Right. I don't know about golf. Come on, I know a lot about football, but not about golf.
I do have a video here just about what Siddle does for election night reporting. If you don't mind replaying it real quick.
Yeah, that's really important because all this is tied into the Associated Press, CNN, NBC, you name it. They're getting all the results from Seidel. So if I'm just throwing this out, just say Trump has a 200,000 vote lead in Pennsylvania. Then within 15 minutes later, all of a sudden, it's Biden that's got
Yep.
That has flipped the switch.
Yep. And then if you go and watch their administration program, like the administrators can go in there and kind of flip some numbers and make some prognostications like, Biden's going to win even though Trump's winning in this state right now. And we all sat there on election night, and we like went to bed, and Trump was like winning heavily, and then we stayed up till like 2 in the morning up in Michigan. Then all of a sudden we wake
All of
up
a
and
sudden,
all the
all
numbers
the
have been
pre-printed ballots from China come in.
yeah.
That happen to be just enough so that their candidate wins, and they stretch it out. Now you got it. They get it. They're trying to get at least a week after the election so they can get as many votes as they can to turn the election. When I was growing up, you know the results by 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That is they're just trying to tabulate those actual the mail-in votes. But here's the video of how do you, it's Seidel or Siddle? I can't pronounce it.
I call it Seidel.
Seidel, it's Seidel. And once
Connect.
again, this is the information that you see if you're watching Fox News, CNN, if you're watching your local news network, if you go online and you look for election results, anywhere you're looking for election results in the United States, this is where it comes from. It's kind of like I don't know if you, like Metabiota. I don't know if you know like Metabiota. That's
Nope.
CDC used like their information, their metadata for like the global coronavirus spread. And,
Yeah,
like,
they don't have any
spread.
scientists working for the FTC. They don't have any scientists.
But this is the same exact thing. So here's the video.
Following an election, results are displayed for the public and media using Seidel's election night reporting. Election night reporting is another product that can be modified simply by administrators through an intuitive interface. This product also was developed with a responsive design, so that it can be easily viewed from any device or screen size.
Okay.
Election night reporting is also accessible, designed to meet web content accessibility guidelines. The product is designed to address the needs of all users, with specific attention spent on users with accessibility needs. Contest results are displayed in multiple formats. By clicking on a contest, more information is displayed for that individual contest, both in map and table forms. Selected contests can also be starred.
Not only that, I just want to point out, Harry, as we're going along here, that like this information, even like the picture that you see of Donald Trump and the picture you see of Joe Biden and his little bio like below, and like these little like this all, even like when you're sitting there voting at your tabulator machine in Wisconsin or Texas or Florida or wherever it is that Siddle is in operations, 80% of the country. Like those little pictures, those are entered into Siddle first. Like that's all through them. And it's
all right, Andy. I want to cut it short. I want to wrap it up in the next minute or so. All right.
Yeah.
Put the program back and get your show. And thanks for being back on again. So I appreciate that. But I want to let people know that none of the voting machine systems that we use to tabulate our votes are made or programmed by people who live in the United States. Now think about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Now what kind of results you're going to get?
Not the ones you want.
And no one is complaining about this?
Yeah. And you're saying it's through this Malcolm Malik Brown guy out in the UK who's really in control of most of the stuff.
He's a minor player in it, but
Yeah.
the big player is Seidel, which went through bankruptcy and was bought by Peregrine Group out of London. But they're all in my stories, and I just want to mention that you can tell people how to donate to my blogs with that orange rectangle box when I get off this phone. But
I was going to ask you, how do you get banned off Patreon, and where can we find a way to like give you some donations for the research and time you put in?
Oh, that FTX story, that The media says that there was $1 billion that was fraudulently taken on his crypto accounts. Well, federal bankruptcy records show 242 companies that this guy Freeze owned that cleaned out $50 billion worth of money. And the people that are supposed to be investigating, in charge of this investigation, is Melissa Hodgman. Does that name sound familiar? Her husband is Peter Strzok. He's the CIA agent that masqueraded as an FBI agent that basically, was a loose cannon for the whole time that he was working for the U.S. government. But here she is. Yeah, nice story there. No one picked it up. It's right there.
So Peter Strzok's wife is in charge of the FTX Freed Clinton cover-up, and it's
she got this job. I'm sorry, I keep on interrupting you, but
no, you're fine.
She's the one that covered up the Hillary Clinton email scandal, which ended up being 869,000 emails. 869,000 emails. She was conducting her own private company on her own private server, and basically was just using the U.S. Treasury for her own personal bank account. Okay.
Yeah.
And because Melissa Hodgman did that for Hillary, she kept on getting promoted to where she's at now, acting director, Division of Enforcement, and any financial transaction that has to do with overseas banking, and then the FTX, because they were based in what was it? What's that island? West Indies? Is that what it's called? I can't remember. Anyway, wherever he was picked up, they knew where he was.
Puerto Rico?
No, he was one of those offshore Virgin Islands or wherever the heck he was.
Okay.
But they picked him up there, but
he did look like he was a virgin living in the islands.
Oh, God. I don't want to get in all that personal stuff.
I'm just messing around here.
No, it's fine. It's your show. You do whatever you want with it. I mean, you put me on. Gee whiz. But anyway, I could use the money. I got cut off from Patreon for writing stories like this. Hey, it's my own fault, so I've got another vendor for my donations. And here it is. See where that orange box is right there? You hit that. Yep, that's it. Hit that.
Yep. I'm just showing everyone, if you every article you click on, if you scroll down to the very bottom, in the bottom left-hand corner, there's the donate button. And you become a one-time donator. If you're like me, you become a monthly donator, and you throw a little extra money in the pot for Harry, because he's going to continue doing some great journalistic work for us. And we appreciate you, Harry, and I'm glad I can be a fellow Ohioan with you.
Well, thank you for your help. I appreciate your help on that video for Wendy Sloan. That's in today's story about Cycle, vacating their Tampa offices, and it's every day is an adventure, and I don't have to look very hard to find stories. They find me. So I appreciate all the tips, and most of mine don't work out. So I know I reject a lot from a lot of people, but that's what I have to do to focus on what I think is the most important story that's out there. So February 9th is the Eugene U next evidence hearing. It's not a trial yet, but either that the LADA spent $125,000. They spent $125,000 to get a company to hack the Connect servers. And either they're going to tell the judge, well, we spent that money and we couldn't crack them, we got to hire somebody else, or we cracked them, and then they got to print out all the different pages, whatever's in that servers, and give it to the defense attorneys, because at least for another day or two in this country, if you get accused of a crime, you have the right to know what the prosecution's evidence is.
Well,
they're not going to give the FBI affidavit up that says that, an FBI agent out of Texas has an expert opinion that none of that information ended up in China. What baller dash. But anyway, the ninth, we got, Rick Olson, Chris Hunter, hopefully Kathy Shue. There might be some others, but they've been a tremendous help for me because it's the court transcripts that tell you what's going on. That's primary evidence. It's not somebody from the Washington Post that lives in India writing the story on this case. I couldn't believe it when I saw that. I looked at everything.
I saw that too. I got the story.
I'm going, in India. Have you ever been in a courtroom, lady? No. Then how can you? Did you ever read the court file? The court file has all kinds of interesting information. No, it paid off.
Yeah.
I mean,
here it is, actually, right here. GreatGameIndia.com was the one who came out with this story. Why 2020 U.S. election votes were counted by bankrupted Spanish company Citadel. And before you go, Harry, I got one more thing. Citadel actually got an initial investment from Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen.
Yep, I saw that.
We've seen Bill Gates' involvement in Event 201. Paul Allen, obviously, he passed away in 2018, unfortunately. But this is just another. Citadel uses Microsoft. I forget the name of it. Their software, like some polling protection software, that this is all kind of based off of, and that's where you get the initial investment. But just kind of pointing that out to the audience as well. Just another deep state
that's
connection.
important. Not only that, but Mitt Romney's on here. He's listed as a partner with Citadel, and and they have access to all their information with a company called Kantar, Kantar. I wrote a story on that with all the details and press releases and things. So
it's all the same players that keep just popping up all over the place.
Just think of a big, I don't know, when you're a kid, we used to have string balls, and these things got to be huge. Practically, you could roll on these things. When you're a kid, you could take on. Anyway, think of our election voting machine apparatus. All the votes in the whole world end up in one place, and all these people have fingers on it, except the people that are trying to vote.
Yeah. Like, look at this. Look at the picture I have in the background. That's like the veins of like the heart and stuff. But that's kind of what you're talking about. You got the little things voting. It all comes down to Konak and Citadel controlling all the information, and then in the bottom line.
So anyway, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the support, from Neighborhood News Hour folks. George Webb, John McLaughlin, Mark Kulex, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have any type of name recognition out there for what I'm doing. So appreciate all of that and the tips that I get from people. And,
what's your email address, by the way? You said you get 150 emails a day. Let's make it like
I got 3 of them, but the easiest one is T as in Tom, H as in Harry, A as in Apple, A as in Apple, A as in Apple, K at M as in Mary, S as in Sam, N as in Nancy.com. So it's Thack at MSN.com. And if that doesn't
put it right
work,
there on the bottom of the screen for everyone.
That's it. And they can also go to the comments section on my stories. Somebody answers a comment, it goes right to my email. So if you have a tip there, you can send it there. And then I'll follow through, and I answer all the people that, let's see, am I missing some? Yeah, I probably missed some. I missed one today from Mary. So, I can't get to everything every day, but I got stories to
Hey, people, if they were comparing the emails you read, I'm sure I get a lot of the emails too. I'm sure I get a lot more complaints. a lot more unreads, Harry. So I have a lot more apologizing to do than you do.
Anyway, I get to most of them. I think I'm only behind about 30 or 40 on the day, but who knows? Anyway, tomorrow's another day, and I'm going to enjoy watching a couple football games on Sunday and going to church. So on Sunday, I appreciate all your prayers, and I think we're winning. There's more and more people now that are aware of what's going on, and I see people returning to church. My church attendance where I go has doubled since 2020 during
Beautiful.
COVID. So these are serious people. They're willing to persevere through this, and there isn't any. I got people going to my church, immigrating from Ukraine, Serbia, Russia, all in the same church. Get along fine.
Kolomoisky, Zelensky, Poroshenko.
That's just
Popolov.
just think of money laundering. Think of NATO, the UN, all that stuff. We got to get. I've written tons of stories on this stuff. So anyway,
I know. I was just throwing one
last
one.
Hey, it's your show. You can do whatever you want, including to cut me off. So anyway, I want to get off here.
All right, Harry. We love you, and once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll let you go, Harry. You can officially say goodbye. I appreciate you being on.
Thanks,
you're
folks.
great.
All
right. Thank you. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Harry the Greek. I do have one more video to play you in a little bit here, but I just want to mention one more time. You can find Harry at Brett here. Let me put that in the BrassBalls.blog so I can throw it up on the screen here. You can find Harry at BrassBalls.blog, and make sure you scroll down. I told him to put this button on the top of the homepage so it's not at the bottom of every screen. So hopefully he changes that soon. But make sure you go to BrassBalls.blog, scroll down to the bottom of the article, and give Harry a little pat on the back for all the hard work he does up there in Cleveland. He's a great researcher. He does some traveling and is around. I've met him in person. He's a great, wonderful human being, a great soul, and you can see he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he wants to make sure America is in good hands before. He wants. I guess I won't say that. We had a weird conversation off screen that I'm not going to get into. But all right, I do have a couple videos to play here before I go. One of them is relating to the election software. He talked about they're going to need some people to hack Eugene Yu's device. And it's like they don't know if this is possible. And here is so DARPA invented this software. I'm just going to show you this screen real quick. The SSITH secure hardware. It was actually a demo they put on. A 21st century voting system, and this was implemented in 2019. Excuse me as I take a drink here. Part of DARPA's SSITH program, this project aims to demonstrate high assurance secure hardware developed in SSITH by building a supervised voting system. The system will be publicly red teamed at DEF CON 2019 and 20 to bear evidence to hardware security guarantees. DARPA's System Security Integration through Hardware and Firmware program seeks to break the cycle of vulnerability exploitation by developing hardware security architectures, blah, blah, blah. They're designing a bunch of safeguards to protect our voting system. Now, we're talking about hackers. At this DEF CON event, DEF CON 25, they had this little, DARPA, they bring scientists together, they bring intelligent hackers throughout the country, and they actually had a contest with these hackers to see if they could break into some voting systems. And I find this very wary because if our government, if our State Department is out there searching for people that could hack the voting systems, maybe they could use them to their advantage if they want to. Or, this is not just in the United States. You see Brazil, Venezuela, France, Canada. Who knows? The system is everywhere, all around the world. The CITL and Connex systems. They're like the voting systems. Pretty much, if you're a NATO country, you're using this stuff. So DARPA put on this challenge to find hackers to hack voting systems, and this was like right before the 2020 elections. And I just find it a little bit odd. This video is about 3 minutes long, but I'm going to play the whole thing and give myself a break before I play you the Paul Pelosi video. Yep. You guys may have seen it, the Paul Pelosi attacker video, and I'm going to play the Terry Nichols police brutality video. I got some comments on both of those before we wrapped up the show for the evening. So here we go. DEF CON 25 Voting Machine Hacking Village, and this was an event. DEF CON 25 was put on by DARPA.
Voter Hacking Village, and we're looking at all the different types of electronic voting and how they can be hacked. If you look around here, there are machines from all sorts of different vendors. You have people taking them apart, looking directly at the JTAG of them. You have some people plugged into the network ports, running scans on them. There's an active network here where you can try to both defend and offensively penetrate the voting network.
So what we're trying to demonstrate for the various agencies is they can build a lab environment where they can build their entire election infrastructure in a lab, built in a virtual environment where they can constantly make changes and adjustments.
Okay.
Very quickly, on the fly, very cheaply.
What are you hoping will come out of all of this?
More knowledge. One thing what I have been so delighted today, people who were doing a lot of work on Friday came back and have been helping and educating the next generation, saying this is what we did Friday, helping them. So now they are the expert in 2 days. And that is both delightful and also for people who are looking this from policy perspective, that is very scary. If some people who have never seen the machines before are the experts teaching the next people 2 days later.
Do you think the machines will be hardened because of everything that's happened here?
Actually, unfortunately, a lot of the things, all the machines here have been hacked and documented and publicly known vulnerabilities over 10 years ago.
Because it's running on a very old version of Windows CE,
Okay.
which probably has a lot of old Windows vulnerabilities.
True.
And it has OpenSSL 0.9.8G
Before Heartbleed.
2007, before Heartbleed.
Yeah.
Which is, now you can decrypt information, which is, that's really easy.
Because of the evidence, I don't think a lot of things will be fixed immediately or ever, but hopefully next generation of machines are more responsibly designed, and hopefully policymakers will understand how important it is to, in the intermediate time when the machines are vulnerable, to establish better policies, better physical defense, better procedures to try to mitigate against the vulnerabilities now discovered.
But it kind of goes beyond that, not just elections, but lottery commissions,
Yeah.
Almost any kind of specialized network. They can even integrate special hardware like these voting booths into the virtual environment.
Remember that people came here, they have never been touching a voting machine. People who saw e-poll books and were first one to hack them, they actually didn't even know such thing exists. We had the two first successful hacks within the 2 hours from opening the doors. And actually those people were not first ones in the door. So within 1.5 hours from when it started, they were already successful and doing the proof of concept. All the 5 systems we have here, all the 5 systems are penetrated. We were here not to show that they can be hacked, because all of these machines actually have been hacked before. We were actually in educating and finding if there's new ways. And we have found a lot of new ways. There's a lot of firsts.
So do you think our next election will be slightly safer?
Slightly is a operative word, yes.
Okay.
So there you have it. That was at the DEF CON 25 event put on by DARPA. they got a bunch of hackers pooled together to see if they could get into our election systems, and it seemed like they were pretty successful. And that question was kind of haunting there at the end. Do you think our upcoming election will be a little safer, sir? And he's like, hell no. He said it a little bit more politely than that. He was like, yeah, we'll see. But I was like, no. These people are talented out here, and the government literally they pulled them together, the best ones out of that group. They have they're choosing to pick which ones they want. If they wanted to flip a state blue, flip a county red, you saw like Florida dominate in this past election with DeSantis, and then the next storyline was like, oh, DeSantis over Trump. So he was like, oh, are they trying to pit DeSantis versus Trump all of a sudden now? And it's like they got these weird little storylines they try to play out with these things, and they're trying to manipulate the public, and it's all controlled by this Siddle and this Koenig, which Harry has been deep diving journalistically into. So once again, thank you, Harry, for your great work. And we go to BrassBalls.blog if you want to continue getting updates on where our election integrity is at as a country. So got a couple videos here to play you before we go, and I do just want to remind our audience, this Sunday I'm doing my very first ever Conspiracy Sports. Woo! We got some football games going. I'm a big sports fan. I forgot to mention this when Harry the Greek was on. Actually, with the he's a big Cleveland Browns fan, so I didn't mention the NFL very much. But this Sunday at 2:00 Eastern time, the 49ers and the Eagles are playing, and I'm doing a co-broadcast with the game. I'm going to have the game on the corner of the screen. I'm going to be doing like play-by-play and updates and what's going on. And I'm also going to be diving into different sports conspiracies and maybe some different things you guys didn't know about. I actually have a big Kobe Bryant. It was Kobe Bryant's, it was his, I guess, 3 years since his passing. What do you call that? Fortunately, a death day. I hate to be so shady. I hate to throw shade, whatever the kids say these days. But Kobe Bryant's death day, his anniversary, was a couple days ago. And it actually kind of coincided with COVID. And I have some Kobe Bryant connections that are going to blow your mind. And I'm going to be digging into it this Sunday at 2:00 during the game. I'm also going to be doing some other stuff. My brother's joining, Tig Dybala. I'm Andy Dybala. My little brother's joining, Tig Dybala. I'm trying to get my dad, trying to get his feet wet in the podcasting YouTube game a little bit too. So hopefully it'll be a family affair as well. And if you're a sports fan out there and you want to join, hit me up an email, live@andy.com. I'll send you a link. You can come on, just have some fun. It's gonna be. I want to have it be like a party. You go watch a football game with your friends. You have the broadcast on, and there's just people chatting along, make fun of the commercials. We're bringing up sports conspiracies and kind of directing the conversation that way along with the game. So it's going to be a lot of fun. 2:00 this Sunday. Make sure you tune in on this channel. And before we go, though, I'm going to play the Paul Pelosi video and the tier. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Terry Nichols video, and just kind of show the public what's going on. Terry Nichols, he unfortunately passed away because of police brutality, and I don't know if there's more to the story than what I saw. I just saw he got pulled over by the police. He was driving recklessly. He gets out of his car, He refuses to get arrested, and he runs away. The cops kind of catch him, and they start throwing haymakers on him, and it's unfortunate. He was battling arrest, not going down. It's unfortunate that all of this resulted just from a traffic stop. But here's the video. I'm going to play it for you guys, and just gonna continue on after. But this is Terry Nichols in Memphis, Tennessee. Is it showing? Okay. As you can see, the cops here are kind of surrounding him. There's not much audio on this. And they're just like taking turns throwing haymakers on this guy. He's not going to the ground. He's probably concussed at this point. I don't know if you've ever watched a boxing match. They're like holding him up and punching him in the face. And sorry, I read a comment in the chat. Hammer time, the Paul Pelosi thing. But this is really, this is unfortunate. But one of the comments I really just have to make about this whole situation in general, like our police, they're here to protect and serve the public. We pay you guys to do that, and you guys take oaths to do that. And I'd like to see everyone in a badge and a uniform. Yes, you may be having a bad day. There might be relationship trouble. Someone could have pissed you off at work. You might be your job. You got to leave all that stuff at the curb. I was once a car salesman, and that's one of the things that like my boss told me. When you come to work, when you step over, like you got to leave all those emotions at the curb. And if you're a public law enforcement officer, that's something that you need to keep in mind when you're on duty. And another thing is like when it gets to like protecting and serving, I understand someone like driving recklessly, maybe speeding a little bit, you're gonna pull them over. But like we should be trying as a law enforcement officers. We've seen countless times over and over again, just like I saw a video on Reddit the other day, some guy just getting just shot in the head in his car because a cop thought he was pulling a gun, and he ended up passing away. Like we should be trying to have less police to civilian interactions as possible. I know they're going to happen. I know throughout the day you're going to have police interacting with people, obviously, but like you guys it should be like more focused on like actual crimes. We got pedophiles running amok in this country. We got just like bank fraud going on everywhere. There's better things to do than just be pulling over just people and then kicking the shit out of them until they pass away in the hospital, all because of he was driving recklessly. I don't give a shit if that's the excuse as a police officer. You need to act more diligently and represent your community a little better. That's all. I'm going to leave it at that. Just know if you like I have police officers and like my family, some friends and stuff, and it's like, yeah, they got to know like there's cameras out there, everything, it's got to leave those emotions at the curb, and you got to keep your head on a little more straight. And I know Joe Biden's talking about getting rid of officers and replacing them with psychiatric human citizens award givers or some shit. Like that's not the answer. It's just we just need cooler heads. Let's just have some cooler head. Even as I'll put some responsibility on ourselves also. Even as a person getting pulled over, let's have a cooler head ourselves. Let's not look to the police as they're trying out to get me, you know? And let's not be the police like, I'm out to get them. Let's just try to keep everyone safe in general. If you get pulled over, have respect, you know? I was told by my police officer buddy, turn your car off. That's how you get out of a ticket, ladies and gentlemen. You pull over, put your blinker on, put your hazards on, turn all your interior lights on, turn your car off, roll your window down, sit there with both hands on the steering wheel in view when the officer, and just wait for the officer to come up and talk to you. And if you're nice and you're respectful and you do those things, a lot of times you can get out of the ticket. And that's coming from my police officer buddies, like just from, he was a captain of the can't think of what they had, the guys that are in charge of the expressways. I can be a real idiot sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't figured that out. The state police officers, whatever they are, the state troopers, scoopers. Like I said, blinker, hazards, all interior lights on, hands on, turn your car off, hands on the steering wheel, roll the window down, and just be polite. And you got a better chance of not only you have you're gonna come out of the situation with your life. You may get a ticket. You may go to court if you're actually doing something wrong and get in trouble. But you're gonna have your life. Like if you're smoking pot, if you're drunk, it's not worth dying over and running and doing all this stuff. Just accept defeat sometimes. That's also a lesson you got to learn in life. When you get caught, sometimes you just got to accept defeat. I hate to say that too, but that's part of it. But all right, moving on. We're going to go into the Paul Pelosi video, then we're going to hit the sack for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this video is posted by Clay Travis. I saw Norman Smith in the chat earlier say hammer time. But here's the Paul Pelosi police footage that we've all been dying to see. You know, was the robber his best friend? Was it a setup? I think this was like some weird sort of blackmail that was happening. Like we've seen we're seeing the Biden documents going on. You had the Pelosi blackmail. There's a lot of some little weird things going on in the air. And I'm wondering if this was one of those and it just kind of went to ride. But you'll see when the police officers open the door, they kind of all stand there for a second. And it is almost like they're like, someone's had to be like action, and then they like swings their hammer at him. But I'm not sure. The guy definitely swung a hammer at Paul Pelosi, and you'll see for yourself right here. Is that sound working? There we go.
Yeah, definitely don't want all of here. I definitely don't want all of here. Hello. Yeah. Fucking said 2620, right? No, 2640. Oh. Yeah, it literally said that. Hi. Guys. How you doing?
How are you?
What's going on, man?
Everything's good.
Hi. Drop the hammer.
Nope. Hey.
What is going on right now?
I'm not getting an answer on call.
Bro, oh shit.
In the area that someone in.
I got him,
Plumber's crack. Paul Pelosi was in that ass like 10 minutes ago.
Edward 14 Everson, back up code 3.
Code 3 back up at 26.
Give me your fucking hand. Give me your fucking hand.
40 Broadway for 14 out.
If you look closely, you can see a Paul Pelosi smack print right on his butt, a little handprint.
Edward 14 Edward, send medics code 3 as well. You got it?
Sorry, 14 number 2, Steve,
I'm not sure if Paul's sleeping right there, but someone was definitely like passed out snoring. Now I'm not like I did it like tried to figure that out. I can't figure it out. But if you listen, sounds like I used to stay over the night at my uncle's house when I was like a little kid. You know, when you have like sleepovers with your cousin and stuff. First weird fact: one of my cousins used to bite his toenails. Oh, he sit there and watch TV and bite his toenails. Oh. He deserved to get hit with a hammer, if anyone in this situation. I love my little cousin, but sometimes I wanted to hit my uncle with a hammer because he was snoring like that on the sleepovers. And ain't no one getting any bedtime when Uncle Chuck's around. But I'm gonna replay this video again. And just pay attention to when they open the door. It's like they pause, they wait, they're like, hey. And it's like, what's going on, man? It's almost like they're waiting for like a pizza or something like that. And it's like, why is the pizza man wearing a cop uniform? And it takes them a second. And he's like, oh, whoop, boom. And I think he actually connects with Paul, if that's Paul sleeping. But here we go again. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, definitely don't want Olive here. I definitely don't want Olive here. Hello.
I definitely don't want something. Lover's quarrel.
Yeah. Fucking said 2620, right? No, 2640. Oh, yeah, it literally said that. Hi. Guys. How you doing?
How are you?
What's going on, man?
Everything's good.
Hi. Drop the hammer.
Nope. Hey.
What is going on right now?
I'm not getting an answer on call.
Shit.
Okay, I kind of see what's going on. Paul is holding the hammer in his hand, kind of not letting. What is in Paul's left hand? Is that like a jar of peanut butter? Is that just like a drink? Okay. Paul's just, he's holding onto the hammer. See Paul's hand right there. The cop puts the light directly on it. Paul's hand on the hand. He's like smiling almost. Okay, maybe not. Sorry, I'm just kind of doing this as we go here. It's like, hey. Scrubbing. Hey, his hand's on the hammer. He's like trying to take it off. They're both just like looking at the cops, just like, are you guys going to do anything? Like, aren't you supposed to tackle me or something like that? And like, that's what the situation is supposed to be. And it's almost like, it's like, oh, I forgot. I was paid to do a hammer swing. I don't know. He's holding on to the hammer. If I had a glass in my hand, you could use that as a weapon if that's a glass. If that's a glass, can I zoom in? No, I can't zoom in on the video. Okay, if that's a glass, he could definitely do like hold on to the hammer and just give him a little whoopoo, whoopoo, something. I know that's a big boy. That's a big. See that, and it's almost like that's like the prototypical what like a Democrat thinks a Trump fan is. If you were gonna pick out like a Trump fan for a movie, and they're like Democrat, like AOC, Pelosi, and Schumer, and Biden, and both by Jill's there too. They're all sitting there and like, and there's like a they go, all right, come on in, and they go through their set. Like, all right, go. Let's see you swing a hammer. And like, oh, you're not Trump enough. Okay, next one. Oh, okay. Oh, let's get the big guy. You know, he's got a big old beer belly. He looks like he's from like Timbuktu, Texas. He looks like he could be one of those guys that kidnapped Gretchen Whitmer You know, he's got the big red pork chops on the side. He got the long hair. Could be ex-military. Who knows? But he looks like a Trump fan, does he not? It looks like it. If Hollywood was to pick a Trump fan, it would be this guy. So he's there. They're holding the hammer. Paul has a glass in his hand. He's not doing anything. Does he have no shoes on, in his underwear, wearing a button down? Now, if that's how Paul Pelosi likes to relax on his night off after he's stolen money from after he just got done selling Google shares and Nvidia shares and made a couple $1 million in the stock market that day. If that's how Paul likes to relax, I'm not judging him. You know, if you guys caught me off camera in an hour, you could be like, Andy looks like a completely different human. Paul needs to do some squats. I will say that. You know, a little leg work wouldn't kill you. I'm sure that's why Nancy's kind of eyeing up Schumer in the Oval Office every once in a while. But continue with the video. He swings. He has to connect because they come in, they rush in. Big boy is on top of him. Paul's down at this point. They get on top of him, and it's boom. Big boy lands directly on Paul. They're like fighting on Paul's head. Can you imagine? This is like the bottom of a football scrum. Speaking of football scrum, make sure this Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, Conspiracy Sports, during the Eagles 49ers game. It's going to be a family affair. Brother joining me, dad, hopefully some other people. But this is like Pelosi's on the bottom of a football scrum, but this guy's like, sure, he enjoys having this guy's crotch in his face. He's probably a fan of that. But this is some rough BDSM type. Listen for the snore.
I got him,
Husky Caucasians for Trump. Goddamn right, Aaron. Glad to see your name again. Love you, brother.
Give me your fucking hand. Give me your fucking hand.
Snoozing. There's my Uncle Chuck. That's two people snoring, it sounds like. Are they both out? Listen, there's two different snores. There's one that's like a motorcycle, and then there's just like the regular snore.
Fucking hand. Give me your fucking hand.
See?
Network 14, Network 10, Medics Code 3 as well. You got it?
Sorry, working number 2, Medic Code 3.
They're both out, it looks like. So there you got the Paul Pelosi attacker video, ladies and gentlemen. It's finally came to the public's attention. Pelosi got out. She saw the signs, you know. She's like, I need to get out of here. Make sure you elect they take the House this session in 2020 so we can put McCarthy in there, you know. I'll give her some credit. She had some foresight. She knows when to cut bait. It took her like 97 years because she's a goddamn dinosaur, but she cut bait finally. I think she's still like the like queen lesbian of San Francisco, though. You know, I know she holds some type of office over there. Let's just go queen lesbian. You know, her bust. They put a bust of her in the Capitol building, apparently. All right, guys. Once again, make sure Conspiracy Sports, 2:00 this Sunday. Be there, be square. Thank you to Harry the Greek, Harry Marin-Tides. Yeah, I know how to say your Greek name, Harry Marin-Tides. I got talent. Know what I mean? So Harry the Greek, make sure you go to BrassBalls.blog. Make sure you scroll down to the bottom, hit that donate button, Throw him some cash. I think there's some ways to throw me some cash too out there. I'm not quite 100% sure. I think I got a Patreon. I think I got a PayPal account. I don't know how you found them. Just Google my name. Maybe Live with Andy. Not 100% sure. I'm gonna have to recheck all that stuff. I also did have a offer from a sponsor, ladies and gentlemen. There might be a sponsor. They emailed me the other day. I might have a sponsor for this show coming up. So we're in the works. We're in the works. And if I do get a sponsor, you better buy their shit or don't watch my show. I'm just kidding. So please like, share. You don't have to buy anything. All this for free. I'm just doing it for fun because I love life. Make sure you guys love life too. Make sure you get a workout in tomorrow. When you wake up in the morning, drink your shake, eat some eggs, go for a jog, get your workout in. Someone commented on my necklace. How you like that? The Tree of Life. I got this in San Francisco. What a great beard, too. I got a top 10 beard in podcasting right now. Wouldn't you guys admit? If there was like a Oscars for podcast beards, I'd definitely be nominated. This is solid. Oh, by the way, I should pull it up. This is who I'm going for. I've actually gotten called out in public saying I look like this person. But here we go. See if I can find. I got to find a good image real quick. I can't believe this isn't working. Come on.
Johnson.
All right. Here we go. Actually, I'll probably get banned off YouTube now that I'm thinking about it. You know, Robert Redford, Jeremiah Johnson. Why is it not clicking? Oh, here we go. This podcast is coming to a screeching halt at the end as I try to find a Jeremiah Johnson picture. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Woo woo! Eat your heart out. Let me see if I can perfect that pose. My steely look off into the distance. I gotta go kill me a beaver. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just having some fun. Everyone, have a good night. Once again, 2:00 this Sunday for my first ever Conspiracy Sports. Harry the Greek, you were wonderful. Thank you once again. Recum Tech, that's what they do in Texas Tech. That's their like school when they score a touchdown. They shoot guns in there. Jeremiah Johnson don't need no guns though. All I need is an axe and a pelt and some trees for me to live in the wild. Eat your mushrooms, ladies and gentlemen. Not the magic kind, the Paul Stamets kind. It's good for your immune system.